everybody, and welcome to Eden Fractal. I'm here with Tadas and Zal, and we're starting off Eden Fractal Season 12 in 2026. So, Happy New Year. Thanks for being here. Hope that everybody enjoyed the holiday season. And Tadas, Zal, of course, if you want to say hello, then feel free. I'm going to give a quick intro. Welcome
Oh,
everybody back.
hello.
Hello, Zal. Good to hear from you. So yeah, we're back here. It's January 15th, and we're launching Eden Fractal's new season with two back-to-back events. Eden Town Hall first, we'll have some open community discussions, and we're playing the Respect Trees game, where we'll discuss topics that were proposed and voted on by the community. And then we'll be playing the Respect game in about 50 minutes from now to evaluate contributions to the Eden Fractal's mission and so forth. I encourage everybody to like and retweet, spread the word about Eden Fractal and what we're doing in the new season. If you're not familiar with Eden Fractal, check out edenfractal.com. It's a community dedicated to optimizing collective decision making through collaborative research, development, education, gamification, and community engagement. And we have been focusing since 2021 on helping the world adopt fractal decision making processes like the Respect game. So this first event that we're having here is the Eden Town Hall, where we're going to be exploring better decision-making process and so forth. Like I said, playing that Respect Trees game where people have voted on topics. So I'll bring that up in a moment. But first, I invite everyone to check out the videos if you haven't seen them. I also want to share a quick note. I had a busy break, so I actually wasn't able to share the past two videos. From the last event, so I apologize for that, but those videos will be released soon. In the meantime, you can watch the videos up until last November or so, and then you can catch the latest progress on the videos pages on the edentownhall.com and edenfractal.com and the Eden Careers YouTube channel, where you can find all the videos. And encourage everyone to join the events too. Eden Town Hall, Eden Fractal on the Optimistics events calendar, loo.ma/optimistics, and stay up with the chats in t.me/Eden Fractal. I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to everybody in the Fractal community or Fractal ecosystem. There's been a lot of great posts, a lot of engagement over the break in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat, people writing articles and starting new initiatives and proposing various things and inviting friends. So really appreciate all the enthusiasm for fractals over the break and really excited to scale the impact and grow fractals more than ever in 2026. So thank you all. And for anybody who's not there yet, check out t.me/edenfractal. And now we're going to be playing that Respect Trees game that Tadas created. So basically, over the past week, anybody had a chance to make a topic in the Telegram group, and then we rank topics. And now we have this snapshot poll here, where we have 7 topics that have been proposed and different amounts of votes for each of these topics. So the topic that has the most votes right now is the proposal for the biweekly structure that Tadas put up, and the second most votes is the ORDAO and OREC documentation. Um, so encourage people to check this out if you haven't already. You can scroll down on this page, which you can find in the Telegram group, and see the proposal Timothy made about OR-down OREC documentation as critical DAO infrastructure, and he outlined the problem and why it matters, and the proposed outcome, and the scope and success criteria, and so forth. There's also several other topics that he proposed about establishing documentation and forkability as 2026 priority, and an Eden Fractal request for proposals program that each received some votes. And then Tadas proposed this proposal to pass a proposal for a weekly, bi-weekly structure. Talked about how we discussed this about pausing Optimism Fractal at the end of last season, and then we started considering how to best use the space left for Eden Fractal. And so he talks about more about how setting the clear rhythm for the season will set a tone for the whole season. And he made an article about a potential bi-weekly structure that we can get into here. And then other topics that have been proposed as well that we might get to if we get a chance. I put up a little welcome to season 12, Eden Fractal season 12 topic and a Eden Fractal 2026 resolutions topic. And then Stas also put up a topic/proposal to update the ORDAO configurations along with an article for this too. So there's more details in all of these articles on the snapshot poll. And I also just pulled up real quick the Telegram messages that for the top 2 topics that Tadas shared and Timothy shared here too. So we're going to start with the topic for passing proposal for biweekly structure, and then if we have time afterwards, then we'll discuss the topic with the second most votes, ORDAO and OREC documentation for critical DAO infrastructure, and we can get more into the document that Sworthy had to put together. Timothy, he actually put it together a document in the Fractal Nouns Notion site too, I believe, that has more details about ORDAO and so forth, and how we could improve documentation, make it easier for fractals to use it. Anyway, with that out of the way, Happy New Year to Das and Zal. It's been great to see you again. Hope you both enjoyed your break very much. And I don't know, Tadas, do you want to dive right into your proposal to pass the proposal? Do you want to dive right into your topic proposal to pass the proposal for the Eden Fractal biweekly schedule and maybe explain about this article? Also, I know today you also shared the Eden Fractal vision document too. So I don't know, it seems like that's maybe kind of related here. And you also had the synchronous respect trees retrospective article. So if you want to pull those up, or you can pull those up and screen share, but those might be relevant to touch upon here too if you want to share that or anything else that's on your mind.
So I present a proposal for proposal.
Yes,
Anyway,
that's exactly right. It's 2026 and it's time to get more meta and fractal with our proposals. We're going to call it fractal proposals. Each proposal will
yeah.
fractal into others.
Um, yeah. So I'm proposing to set bi-weekly structure, specific bi-weekly schedule for Eden Fractal. Uh, First of all, we now have space every other week where Optimism Fractal was, and last season, at the end of last season, we agreed that we would use this for focusing more on Eden Fractal because there are a lot of topics we want to discuss, a lot of areas of contribution, and uh, yeah, I think we agreed that it makes sense to do something every other week. Uh, yeah, so here I specifically propose that we every other week we basically alternate between weeks where we play respect game and then do town hall, and weeks where we do town hall first and then play respect game. Uh, yeah, and the week where we play the town hall first will be more, as I call, legislative week. It will be more legislative focused, where we also will play this version of synchronous respect trees game and try to determine topics. And in addition, will propose that we also try to determine contribution requests or contribution priorities. So in general, the legislative week, the week where we will play the town hall first, will in general be more would in general be more governance focused, whereas a week where we play respect game first would be more independent contribution focused, where people can focus on their projects individually or coordinate in smaller groups. Uh, and so that's aligned with this event structure uh, where we do either respect game first or town hall first, because uh, generally I noticed that first event, if we play respect game first, then more people participate in respect game, and then not everyone participates in town hall. And if we do the other way around, then it's the opposite. And in general, we are more focused at the beginning of the meeting. Uh, so I thought it's natural to align also uh, uh, with general weekly structure. Uh, yeah, and this will also allow space for improving the synchronous respect trees game if we need to. Uh, One thing I want to propose is to uh, have another type of tree, basically another type of poll every week besides the topic proposals. Also have contribution requests tree, uh, and here we would be able to rank tasks or issues where we want people to focus. If we if it doesn't require like discussion in a meeting, just I don't know, maybe updating documentation. You don't need to discuss that priority here. We can just signal that in contribution requests, and when respect holders uh, are likely to work on it. Now, why they would work on it, why we would be incentivized to work on it, is basically then pulled the right this document at just the right time. So the reason respect holders will be incentivized to focus on. Anyway, maybe let's leave this vision for later. I think we can go to general biweekly cycle structure. Or I don't know what do you want to do then, because in some sense we can. It makes sense, I think, to pass this proposal even if without the synchronous respectries, specific synchronous respectries and implementation. Um,
Yeah, thanks for the overview, Tadas. Do we have I still don't have an easy place where I remember to save the delegate spreadsheet. I think I have it saved in the Eden Fractal article, but I know you always have that quickly accessed, Tadas. I'm wondering if me, you, and Zal are each delegates, so can we pass a proposal right now
yeah,
with three of us?
we we need Sworthy and also uh, Ryan
Okay,
or yeah, so we wouldn't be able to pass a proposal. So I don't know,
okay.
do you want to focus on general vision? That's part of this, or
Um, I was going to send a quick message to Swarthy to see if he's going to join because he messaged me. I think he wanted to join yesterday because he might join, and if so, then we could potentially pass a proposal. Join the town hall now. So I just asked him that, and then curious if Zal has any thoughts. Zal's clapping. That very nice. So feel free to jump in, Zal, with any thoughts. Good to see you, by the way, and looking
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
just
haircut.
working over here, doing a little bit of co-building, listening in. I'll probably just be vibing out and I'll share any thoughts I have in the chat here.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, all. Well, feel free to jump in at any point if you have any thoughts as well on the audio. And yeah, I suppose first, I'm very interested to get into your vision to this, and I left some comments there. I'm not sure if you had the chance to look at those yet, so that's something we could dive into if we have some time. And then I'm also interested in the Eden Fractal biweekly schedule, structure, and appreciate you putting these two together, as well as the retrospective on the first two events where we play the respectaries, synchronous respectaries game. And so that might be helpful to touch upon as well for some context that might help us, that might help to inform our discussions here. So if you wanted to focus on that at all, the retrospective to help provide some maybe some context for discussion, then feel free. Or if there's any direction you want to take it in, then feel free. Curious to hear your thoughts. And then I suppose my first thought outside of just setting that context is regarding the Eden Fractal biweekly cycle structure. So as I remember the last Eden Fractal event of the season, we talked about pausing optimism fractal, and we agreed that was a good idea. We still need to put that proposal out a bit, and so I'll do that as soon as possible. But if you want to put it out to us too, that's something we can coordinate on because we need to let the optimism fractal community and people who are following optimism fractal know that we're not planning to host the first event next week. And then um, yeah, so last time that we had an Eden Fractal meeting or Eden Town Hall meeting, we discussed how often to have the respect game, and I believe at that point both you and Zal had said that you didn't see it ne as necessary to have the respect game every week. I was kind of leaning towards it, but then both you guys said that it might be better just to have a town hall every week and alternate between having a 2 hour town hall compared to, or one week is a 2 hour town hall, and then the next week is a 1 hour town hall followed by a 1 hour respect game. So I'm curious. One, I just want to confirm if I interpret that correctly. I'm pretty sure that's what both you and Zal were kind of leaning towards. And then after you guys said that, that kind of like made me think, okay, that's a good idea. So that's what I thought we were going to do until you sent this document. So I'm curious if that was what you thought you were going to do, and now do you feel that this is a better idea? And how much better do you feel that this is to do this Eden Fractal biweekly structure as you propose? I have some additional questions about this too, but first I'd like to just zoom out and ask those questions about how how you're thinking about it 2 months ago compared to how you think about it now. And you're muted to us.
yeah. So first I was designing new synchronous respectries game, and I realized that it makes sense to do it only on 1 week. Uh, Basically based on my learnings from the retrospective, partly at least, and yeah, and then I realized that uh, the other week will be more contribution focused. I realized that we need the respect game there, and then I just thought, why not allow a town hall afterwards? It will be less structured, but could be just space where people could optionally stay to discuss maybe contributions or just chill. Uh, yeah, so and then I ended up with this basically symmetry, and I liked the symmetry, so I didn't remove the previous um, event where we would play town hall first and then respect game, and then I added this opposite version in the other week. Now that being said, I think it's an option to not have respect game after in the legislative week after the town hall. Then you could maybe have a town hall for longer. Uh, yeah, but I don't have a strong argument for doing that. Uh, I'm just saying, like, if we wanted to remove one of those events, I would remove that one. But so that's my thoughts. Like previously, I said uh, what I said at the end of last season was just based on my perspective then, and I don't know, we changed a bit.
Okay. So do you much prefer this now, or like how, if you were the benevolent dictator of Eden Fractal, then would you say let's definitely do this Eden Fractal bi-weekly structure with this 2 week cycle with a respect game every week, and would you be very like confident and excited about it?
Yes, I would do this.
Okay, sounds good. Let me
And
um
we can change it, of course, like using Eden plus fractal process.
okay, sounds good. Um, yeah, so feel free to elaborate at any point, but otherwise I'll just ask some questions because I read these documents and I was a little bit confused by parts of it, and I have some questions and comments and thoughts, and I'm very curious to hear your perspectives. So and unfortunately, I just realized it was a good simple thing, but I just realized when I was leaving comments on the other one that I brought up, I left comments and. That's useful. So it would have been useful for me to do so on this other one, but I didn't think about it until this most recent document. So I'll try to remember what my comments were here because I didn't actually get a chance as I was reading it to leave those comments. But I suppose maybe where I can start is with the why. And like this kind of, it seems like there's some philosophical perspective here that you started to outline. Maybe I'll pull up this other one, if you don't mind, for the retrospective as well. And in this document, you provided the overview of what worked well and what didn't work well and what we can improve upon and so forth from the synchronous vectors game that we've done, starting with the last two events of last season. And then you had thoughts or inspirations with this idea of convergence versus divergence, and it seemed like you saw some natural synergy here between convergence and I think the legislative process, if I'm correct, and divergence and the executive process. So convergence, I still haven't read this article yet, but well, I read your article, but not the source. But maybe do you want to elaborate on that a bit, and maybe how that informs? Because it seems like
Yeah,
this, it seems like the biweekly structure that you came up with is kind of inspired by like this kind of like, I suppose, philosophical underpinnings, or maybe it's not philosophical, maybe that's the wrong word, but kind of like the learnings from the retrospective made you think that this might be a helpful way because of this reason of convergence and divergence and how that aligns with executive and divergence, because I still don't fully understand the rationale like and exactly um, how it work and why you think it's such a good idea to do this.
yeah. So regarding the why, so first, like, first of all, I would start with the vision then. because it's the quicker path. So basically, uh, yeah, I started to have this idea previous season when I talked about service for respect. This is basically the same idea, except we create utility by focusing on signals from respect holders uh, instead of by creating some software. Although that previous path is valid also. But for now, we could start with this. So basically, the idea is that, and the synchronous respect trees is key here. So using synchronous respect trees, community signals what contributions it desires. And then respect holders and other people work on it. Now, why should respect holders listen to this signal? So first of all, we increase legitimacy uh, of respect, because respect signifies basically represents community. So if community votes that some issue needs to be worked on, then respect holders should account for that in their decisions, because we, when we contribute, because they represent community. And second, more important point is that they create a precedent where using respect, you can direct attention of the community. And that's basically utility, creates utility for respect. Utility creates demand. Demand creates more contribution, no more participation, more people coming. And yeah, and that in turn will make the community grow, will create more contributions for our projects, will get us more exposure, will create more potential for financial contributions and so on. And new contributors that come, the same rules apply to them, that they will be incentivized to basically capitalize of the respect we already earned by contributing back to the issues that community signals. Uh, yeah, so this is the vision that I believe in. And I like this very much because it's very simple way to not just grow the community, but also at the same time get other financial contributions. And yeah, for me it seems like very harmonious and simple system, and I like simplicity here, and the fact that we can start doing it this now. We don't need some complex software, complex apps to start this. Uh, yeah, so that's my rough vision, and yeah, I realize that synchronous respect is key here right now, because that's the way we can try to create these signals right now. And so that's why last couple of these I focused on synchronous respect trees, and I started by doing a retrospective of the games we already played, and took the learnings from there, like the fact that I think we need some space in between the games in order to reflect and maybe improve the game, and also in order to basically contribute, synthesize, basically reflect on the results of the game as well, and also to contribute to work on our own initiatives and so on. Yeah, as someone who really played the last two games fully, I think the previous rhythm was a bit too intense, maybe. Although, yeah, I think so, uh, and that comes back to idea of convergence versus divergence. Divergence is basically this where it's more more chaotic, less organized. Uh, but that's good, because if you try to structure everything too much, it becomes uh, tedious at some time, at some point. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so. I'm still trying to make all the dots connect in my mind. And I'm very interested to learn more of this vision, and I'm understanding more of it, but I have more questions. Should I just go ahead and ask more questions, or do you want to further elaborate on any parts? Okay.
Yeah, split task.
Um, maybe be helpful because a lot of this starts with the vision to hone in on a couple of the questions I asked here as a starting point to help me understand your vision and then how that could translate to the biweekly event schedule. So I have a question, just like a specific question here that I wasn't sure about. You wrote to deploy to as one of the three bullet points from the top to deploy immutable split contracts based on existing respect distributions, which would just be like a split contract, like you said, for Optimism Fractal respect distribution, but for Eden Fractal at block 2, maybe at block 1 or, as well. And then you said to create corresponding contribution requests, donation requests. And I didn't know what you meant by that, so I asked, what does that mean? And then I asked if you meant like creating additional splits contracts for different contributions or donation requests, or am I misinterpreting that?
No, so let's say I believe that that Eden Fractal contributors from previous epoch deserve uh, like donations as a thank you, for example. Uh, and yeah, so I deploy immutable splits contract, uh, and first of all ask people to donate, but then I also create a contribution request, which basically specifies the split contract and basically present description arguments for why we should provide these people uh, deserve donations.
Hmm.
Uh, and then community uh, votes on that contribution request in a poll, which includes all the other contribution requests, including other requests for donations, which could represent be connected to other split contract. And the connection is only like symbolic. We are not literally connected. It's just a request to donate to a split contract. And in the same poll, you could also have other contribution requests like for development and so on. Uh, and yeah, and then community votes, and then uh, let's say community votes a lot on that split contract I deployed, on contribution request that asks for donations to that split contract. Let's say community votes on that, and so then uh, uh, let's say some other person wants to earn more respect to direct more attention to his project. So now he has a straightforward, and he does not have time to put it to to spend time on working on something, but he has money which he can donate. So he has now a straightforward way to earn respect. He uh, donates money to that split contract. Uh, then he goes into respect game, present presents that transaction as a contribution, and also references that contribution request and as basically evidence that he contributed something that the community values. And then respect game participants are incentivized to value those kind of contributions because they create utility for respect. Because again, if we contribute to the according to the contribution request, that basically creates a demand for respect because people can know that they can direct attention and effort by holding respect. Is that clearer or it's too
Yes,
much?
that's clear. I think there's two questions that arose in my mind while you were saying that. So one is related to these questions that I wrote down here. I wrote down a few different questions, but when you say that how you wrote this creates demand for respect when there's a precedent for um, well, maybe I'll just read from here just to just provide context for what I'm saying here. So you said that now current respect holders are incentivized to work on contribution respects that are around community because there's these immutable contracts with corresponding contribution requests. And you say, here's why. One, by building a precedent that respect weighted voting that through respect-weighted voting, people can guide contributions. We create a utility for respect, a utility meaning the ability to guide contributions and community focus in general. And then two, this creates demand for respect. People will come to earn respect more frequently, and they will try to earn it by contributing according to contribution requests. Respect game reward them appropriately. So that's related to what you were just saying, I think, where somebody could come and make a donation or do some sort of work that's in some clearly identified contribution that the community has signaled that it values or wants by voting on it with respect. And so my question here, maybe you touched on this already, but I'm not sure. So I wrote in this vision, people can earn respect both by playing a respect game and completing a contribution request? Like, is that too, does all the respect come in from the respect game? And this just provides a way that people could say, hey, I did this. I was specifically wanted by the community and specifically signaled by the community when they're at the Thursday respect game. And that provides a reason why people might give them a level 6 or 5 or whatever instead of a lower level. But this isn't like, because I know that Timothy also shared this idea for an RFP system where people could just make a proposal and then you could potentially have, say, like, I don't know, we're going to give 100 respect to whoever or whichever team does this. Like, for example, the second topic that had the most votes was this ORDAO, this where is it? It's this ORDAO documentation, and Zal has also mentioned that he would really like ORDAO documentation. We talked about that a little bit, and Timothy really would like that as well. And so people see value in having ORDAO more well documented. So, for example, like say if Timothy or me or Zal were to go and make a like we want to see ORDAO documentation as critical DAO infrastructure, or we just want to say, hey, like I want to make a contribution request, I guess, in your terms for a task or a project or potentially an issue. I guess an issue is kind of like a smaller version. It's kind of more like a task. So there might be several tasks or issues involved with the project of improving or documentation. And so somebody would make this contribution request for the project of improving ORDAO documentation, and then they would then people would vote on that. Like, say in your example, you make a proposal to give that people from Epoch One did a lot of really good stuff for Eden Fractal, and so they should receive donations and stuff like that. But then, say Timothy makes a proposal that we should have a project for improving ORDA documentation, and then you're saying that the community would split votes between deciding, okay, well maybe like if we have 100% of all of our respect and influence that we can allocate, maybe we're going to say 50% of this should go to Eden Fractal Epoch 1 and 50% should go to ORDAO, or maybe 60% or 40% or whatever, and we're allocating by that. And then um, going back to this question over here, they would only so be earning from the respect game and not via any sort of RFP system. I see you have your hands up, so I shared a lot there. Curious what you think.
Yeah, so people for now, people will only be earning from respect game. Maybe in the future we could introduce other ways. For example, for people who do contributions asynchronously and cannot come to the meeting. I have that in mind, but for now I think it would be changing too much. So not in the first iteration. Does that answer your question, or there was?
Yes, that answers it. Although I also shared more details there that were partially related to this or partially kind of on their own thing too. So I'm curious if you have any thoughts, if I was correctly identifying and explaining how that ORDAO documentation project could work. And then I had this other question about how is the split configuration for each contribution request determined? Oh, I see you already responded there. Did you want to elaborate on that here?
Yeah, so how is the split configuration for each contribution request determined? So anyone can create any split contract and deploy it. The point is like to create a then contribution request and then will community vote for it. So that way we don't need any formal process to pass any specific split. We can just vote basically on what split we prefer. And also that's also advantage over some kind of RFP system. we don't need a RFP system would require us to basically confirm our intent to mint specific amounts of respect to specific uh, proposals. And here we simply uh, have community issue signals, and the incentives that I described here does the rest of the work through respecting which we already have. And
Okay.
uh, there was some other question, or maybe no. I think that's all.
Yeah, there's one more comment I left on the bottom. I don't know if you want to get into that now. And then I
Yeah.
could also ask more questions as well if you'd like.
What's the comment at the end?
The comment here just says that I'm interested to learn more and try it. But I made a comment and then just how you phrased that. You said give us opportunity to capitalize on existing investment respect. So I said I wouldn't frame it as capitalizing on our existing investment into respect with the word investment probably because while we know that respect is a soul-bound token that represents a community opinion, and as I understand you meant investment of time, just the word investment has some legal connotations related to like securities contracts with expectations of profits, and so we wouldn't want to confuse people who are new to respect. That was just my thought there regarding that one phrasing of the word, basically.
Yes, I will try to remember to fix it. Uh, Good point.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you have any other thoughts you want to share here. I'm trying to absorb because there's a lot of things here that you're bringing together that I think are very I think there's a lot of potential here, and I'm curious both to understand it more deeply and still further connected. So I understand everything you said there. I still didn't get an answer for the practical understanding. So maybe that's a good question. We only have maybe 15 minutes left or so for the town hall session, but and so at some point we should return to the specific proposal and decide what to do for next week and the 2 week cycle in general. But maybe one other thing I can ask on this specific page is say, for example, if Timothy makes that uh ORDAO that order documentation project because he believes that that's something that the community really needs and should focus on, and he wants to use his respect and invite others to vote with their respect on improving ORDAO documentation, and that way people earn more respect. Like presumably the way it would work is that if a lot of people voted for this uh ORDAO documentation project,
It's a
then
contribution request. Well,
yes.
yeah,
Yes, and so Timothy makes a contribution request for a project to improve
yes, yes,
order documentation, and then he votes with 100% of his respect on this because he thinks it's the biggest priority. And then maybe Zal also does that because he thinks it's a big priority. Maybe I vote with 20% or whatever, and a bunch of other people do. And he invites people. He's like, "Hey, everybody, vote for this project because it's really important." And then you're saying that by doing that, um, when people go to rank contributions at the respect game that next week and over the next month or whatever, or however long it's ranked highly, then somebody who says, "Hey, I made this documentation for ORDAO. Um, maybe there's specific tasks or issues in the project. Maybe it's like improve the OREC documentation or improve the deployment information. Like he wrote all these different things in his Notion site about like specific things that need to be improved, like current things that are missing. And I think he wrote also like subtasks, or maybe he didn't write subtasks for this one, but he wrote like it needs to be task oriented and audience explicit. So maybe say hey, or we generate subtasks and we have like and like 10 subtasks there to improve the ORDAO documentation. And then somebody goes to the respect game and they're like, hey, I completed these two subtasks and now the ORDAO documentation is better. Then they're more likely to receive respect. Everybody could still use their own judgment, and somebody could say, "Hey, well, I still think that doing this other contribution that wasn't order documentation was better, so I'm going to rank them a level 6." But there's more reason to say, "Hey, the community has voted that order documentation is the most important thing in this case, so we should give this person a level 6 because they did a lot of work for that." Uh, that's basically like providing them some guidance for providing people in the community guidance for what to do, and then providing people in the community for guidance on what to vote on during the respect game. and it's like a non-binding thing, but it's something that the community has signaled, hey, we value this. So there's that, and that's why Timothy would make this proposal um, to this contribution request rather for the project of improving order documentation. But then say you make another proposal and you're like, let's use the example that we had before where you're like, hey, we want to make a, I suppose, donation request for Eden Fractal Epoch 1 participants because they set the foundation for Eden Fractal in a lot of ways and they've done all this work over the past 3 years and they haven't received much donations. So you think that that should be more valued. And then that would be specifically like asking for donations, I guess, and then maybe you vote with all your respect on that, and then some other people vote with all or half or 20% of their respect or whatever. And then if somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey, I gave $100 or whatever to the split contract for the Eden Fractal Outback One participants," then they'd be more likely to get a five or a six or whatever, depending on the amount of money and also depending on the comparables to what people did for order documentation. And then say I come along and I'm like, yeah, those things are both important, but I also have another thing that I think is more important for Eden Fractal, and that's like improving the video production, for example, on the Eden Creators YouTube channel. And I vote with all my respect on that. And then maybe it winds up where those three are like there's three contribution requests. One's for videos, one's for ORDAO, and one's for Epoch One donations. And then I guess even for specific contribution requests, there could be like donation M6 for that if we did like the extra meeting. I know there were some talks about that, but that's probably getting too complex for now. But basically, you're saying like there'd be one poll either with synchronous respect trees or maybe async respect trees or live respect trees or just respect trees in general, where we would allocate our respect across those three contribution requests, whether it be a donation request for Epoch One or a work request for improving documentation or like a work request for improving the video production. And then we would allocate our votes accordingly to that, and we have the opportunity to do that every week, I guess. And then based on that, then that would just serve as a signal for what the community values most and what people can potentially do and earn more respect and what people can vote on. And that's kind of like that's kind of like your vision in a nutshell here. I'm sure it can be built upon and expanded on more, but that's kind of like the foundation of it. And you said that that is something that would work well with this biweekly cycle. Is that all correct?
Yes, if I did not miss anything, I think you said everything correctly.
Okay, sounds good. And so how 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 should we proceed in this last? Should we try to wrap up and go to the respect game in 7 minutes, or should we go a bit longer because we started a bit late? Welcome, time. Thanks for joining. Um, I would suggest for the town hall. Um, Maybe it's best to do a 2 hour town hall for next week because there's a lot of topics that were posed and we still might have the same issue. And then we consider doing this, so I can think it over, and also we can produce the video. It's also one of the things I have on my plate right now that I have to produce. I have like 4 or 5 videos between two videos for Eden Town Hall and Eden Fractal, and then I have to produce the Optimism Fractal video, and then do like the Optimism Fractal proposal, and then I still need to produce those two ORDAO Fractal videos I need to produce. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about putting more video production, about having two different events, the Respect Game and the Eden Town Hall, on a weekly basis at this point. I think it's probably a good idea what you shared about like having the two site the 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 bi-weekly structure with a discussion event and respect first event. It's a little bit confusing, and I still don't totally understand the part about these rules, like during discussion time of DF event and just the word DF and RF. Like as I was reading this, like I was reading my phone, I kept having to scroll up. I'm like, what is DF? What is RF? So like it was a little bit confusing, and I wonder if it's gonna be confusing to explain that to people because you're saying like uh during the time of discussion of a DF event, which is a discussion first event where we have a town hall first, then use the Eden plus factor process to pass the legislative week structure. So that would be something we do at first. And the legislative week structure says that you can only elect delegates during the DF events, which is just discussion first, and they serve for 8 weeks. So basically, there's only the legislative process is only in effect for every other week in this, where it's a discussion first, and people would serve for 8 weeks if they become a delegate in the Eden Fractal process. But there's still the a potential to only use the legislative process during the respect game first weeks, but only to change the Eden plus fractal consensus process, or rather to change the legislative week structure. So I think there might be a hurdle in just like in community members first myself to understand exactly this and then to explain it to people. I think there's potential here. In general, I think that the idea of having more respect games in each week is probably best for the community at some point, but I'm also apprehensive about doing that just because I have a lot on my plate right now, as far as like video production that requires just producing another video every week. And there is just a lot of topics for discussion. And I wonder if maybe we should just have that 2 hour town hall first and then adopt this at some point after I and other community members have more time to absorb it. And then also catch up on other tasks and then maybe have more space at the town hall where people can discuss these things for longer. But that's just some of my thoughts right now about where I'm at with it. And I'd be curious to learn more about these rules. Maybe you can clarify these things for me. But also, there's not so much more time left in the town hall right now, so I'm curious about both those clarifications as well as just your general thoughts about how we should proceed, and if you have any feedback on my comments.
Yeah, maybe specification could be improved. We cannot pass this proposal because we don't have delegates, unless we would be live in the chat, but the time is almost over anyway. Well, regarding video production issue, for me, it's a bad reason to not have a meeting if we need it, just because it's too much for you to produce a video. Like I said multiple times, like just publish it without any production. Like I don't care, but
Well, I'd be happy. It just there is like some basic stuff. It's like it's like how Zoom records it basically. Sometimes Zoom records it. I don't know if I explained this to you, but sometimes Zoom records it where like the screen is very small and it has like all this black space. So it requires like an hour every week to try to just like fix that. I've been trying to automate it, but it's just like little stuff like that make it difficult for people to watch. But another thing I could do too is I could just put it on Google Drive and then we could have it there and then edit it later too. So I also agree. I don't want to make the video production stop the community events from doing what's best for the community. So, as you said before, like if you're the dictator of Eden Fractal, you were confident this is the best. So I'm not saying that the video production should be stopping that, but I still don't fully understand it. I think it'll be tough, a little bit tough to explain to people in the beginning. And so that's why I suggest, like, I think it might be best to think this over a little bit because you just shared this like it was a week ago, and this is the first time that I had some of my questions answered. I still have some questions about exactly how I would explain it, so that's why I'm not ready to like dive into it yet. Or I should have some apprehensions about diving into it. I mean, I could potentially do it, but also we can't pass a proposal like you said. So I guess we could take it one step at a time and figure what should we do for next week, if anything, for an event, and then when should we, make progress in this, and maybe try to propose it next week or the following week or something like that.
yeah, we could have a town hall next week, but uh, my understanding is that we cannot pass proposals next week, only uh, every other week right now.
Is that
Uh,
to the Eden plus factor rules and do we have specific like intents, or like I think it's been kind of fuzzy, hasn't it been?
we passed a proposal which specify modifications for the old Eden plus fractal process.
So we passed a
This
proposal.
is the old document you have.
Oh, okay.
I shared
Thanks.
the new one.
Okay, thanks. I'll have to update that link on this website. Okay, so we passed a proposal to which one is it that you're saying makes it where we can't do
The first one, because
uh,
previously we passed a proposal to have proposals to have bi-weekly schedule,
mm-hmm,
uh, and then Eden Town Hall that is referred to in the first proposal is that one.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and I don't know, just adding more town halls uh, would seem like, I don't know, creating, and it says specifically before respect game. So, and we won't have respect game next week. So,
Hmm.
um, it would seem like cheating our rules that we defined to add this additional. Uh, but for me, we can if this needs work, we can wait another 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we need to wait, according to the rules of the process, to pass any proposal. And it looks like, I mean, I think your logic makes sense that we shouldn't or we can't, according to the rules of the process, approve that proposal next week, but we can approve the proposal in 2 weeks from now. And then the question is just, should we host an Eden Town Hall next week for a discussion where we can discuss this and other topics as well? Because just because we made a proposal for moving the Eden Town Hall to Thursday at 16 UTC doesn't mean that we can only, or just because we made a proposal to move Eden Town Hall to Thursday 16 UTC before the respect game doesn't mean that we can only host a town hall if there's enough people. Actually, Swarthy's joining too, so technically we could
Yeah,
pass a proposal real quick. But yeah, basically, if we want, we could host an Eden Town Hall and just discuss these things next week without passing a proposal. Is what I'm saying. So should we do that or welcome Swarthy?
yeah. Maybe let's do that and just go through the with synchronous respective results we already have for that. Uh,
Oh,
just to guide the meeting if you need.
yeah, I think that makes sense. So. What we'll do is we'll shortly wrap up the town hall segment and move into the respect game segment after any final thoughts. And then we'll plan to have a town hall next Thursday at 16 UTC. And that town hall could potentially go for 2 hours because we won't have an Eden Vector respect game scheduled at that time. So if we want to have a extra long discussion, then we can do it then. And because we had a lot of topics on the snapshot poll. There's 7 topics, and we only really mostly got to one, and even that we still didn't have any conclusion on, and there's still like several different questions to have. We made some good progress on there. We touched a little bit on the ORDAO/ORAC documentation, but that's something that received a lot of votes that we haven't gotten into. And then there's the update ORDAO configuration, welcome to Eden Fractal Season 12, Eden Fractal 2026 resolutions, documentation of workability, and Eden Fractal RFP program that we can have as for next week. And I suppose we can just kind of make that decision without any sort of like legislative process or something like that, that we'll just have an Eden Town Hall next week that won't have any power to pass proposals next week, but we'll be able to just discuss these topics in more detail and we'll just keep that same respect trees voting structure rather than playing a new game, and then we'll just discuss these topics. I suppose I could create a new poll and we can change our votes, but it's probably simpler just to just go with these, and then we can also have kind of more of an open discussion and be flexible with it if we want to jump around a little bit. Um, how's that sound, Tadas?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or any other final thoughts you want to share with regards to this Eden Town Hall and the subject that we've discussed so far?
No, I think we should move on to respect me.
Okay, sounds good. I'm looking forward to moving on to Shopkane too. I just want to, yeah. So I suppose what I'll also do between this week and next too is just I'll try to review these messages, and then write specific comments I have here, like I did in the other page, because I think over here I had a question. And then I'll also try to publish those videos from this week and the prior week so people can catch up and like have context from this meeting as well as the prior meetings before next week too.
Sounds good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tadas, very much for all the thoughtful documents and the vision of Eden Fractal. Very exciting. Encourage if anybody on the call or listening in hasn't checked out these documents, then encourage you to read them. We're going to have more discussions about these probably next week. And everybody can find that in the Telegram chat at t.me/EdenFractal. Also, thanks Swarthy for making all these topic proposals too. So yeah, we touched on them briefly here, but we'll have more time to discuss these next week as well about the ORDAO documentation and the other 2 topics you proposed for the porkability and the request for proposal system. With that, I think that we're ready to move into the respec-ing part of this event. So thanks for all of the discussions at the Eden Town Hall.